So welcome to Things Invest, talk about investing, finance, and financial development. For today's area items only. The investment on top of today will be Ethereum Tech ETH. First, just want to say happy Saturday, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend, by the way. Respect to Ethereum, as I'm recording this off 7:36 a.m. on Eastern Time. Currently $3,224, down about 2.21% so far. It seems like we are experiencing a mixture of both the weekend affectation, knowing the fact that today is a Saturday and it's a weekend, and at the same time, we tested the resistance level that we've identified previously, right? We could not get to the $3,385 level, and today's high was $3,335, so we're like about $50 away from getting there, right? But we couldn't get there because of lack of momentum. Right, and also on top of the fact that we've been stretching up for the last 16 to 17 days now, and we've been keeping tabs, right? We've been seeing the surge, for quite some time now, right? For this whole month so far, we're up about 65% so far. So it's a relatively large gain, right, from that 1750 that we tested up at the bottom, right? So with respect to today, despite the sell-off that we're currently experiencing, there isn't any specific news on a media front that's driving this sell-off, right? I've been checking news. There hasn't been anything specifically negative. It's just people are taking some profit, and this is a normalized correction because we just couldn't get to the next level. And as we talked about in the previous technical analysis videos, that 3,385 is a very difficult level to break above, right? Because we do have a relatively large gap in the chart, right? And if we break above that, the next level is technically going to go up to the 3,566, and then the next level is going to go up all the way to the 3,835. So these are relatively large, massive leap ups for us to get above, right? So on top of the fact that the MACD and RSI has been overstretched so far, so do we see a sell-off coming? Do we see more of a crash? Or how severe would that look like? Or do we see a surge coming, knowing the fact that we are still at the mid of the thrill or the euphoric stage at the moment? I would say we're more of the mid of the euphoric stage at the moment, right? And the next story that we'll be seeing in the movie would be some sort of a dead cat bounce, right? People chasing the pump, FOMO, thinking that we won't be breaking the $3,000 mark, which we have been sustaining for quite some time now. But is that the case? Or do we see like kind of a scoop and then people buy it and then the whales come in and dump us later? So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. So moving on to the technical analysis for Ethereum Tech ETH, I'm recording of 7:38 a.m. on the Eastern Time. Currently $3,224, down about 2.21% so far. So it seems like we are just kind of hovering on a sideways fashion, and today's low was $3,207. But again, the 3,200 is not a substantive level; it's just a flat number. People psychologically place their orders in. But again, if you take a look at the technical, there is no substantive support at the basically 3,200s, right? So we are basically levitating at the moment right now. We're just kind of floating away, right? And we've been floating away for quite some time now. We floated upward to the 3,335, trying to get to the next platform, right? The 3,385, which we have identified here, but we never got there, right? So that was unfortunate. If you could not build ground to the next territory, if you may, you have to basically kind of hover back down because like you just couldn't get there. It's like a video game, right? You have to kind of replay to restart the game, right? So it seems like we are hovering back down because of today is the weekend affectation. So people are taking some profit across the market, right? Despite Cardano's being up, so it must be some positive, media affectation or some sort of adoptions related news that's being percolated on Cardano's front. But we're not covering that at the moment, so we have to talk about Ethereum. So with respect to that, it's really mainly driven by the weekend and also at the same time the Bitcoin drag effects at the same time. So you can see that Dogecoin is also down as well, which makes sense, right? We've been dragging it for such a long time now. It needs to come back down to cool down, right? So I would say, if yesterday was really the surge to the end of the euphoric zone, right? What we see as a next step going forward would be potentially, we might see a sell off a little bit, right? Maybe come back down to the 3,000 and then we scoop up, right? And what I mean by scoop up is that the people, public investors specifically, they see that, oh, we're gonna come back to 3,000. Knowing the fact that we've been testing these, $3,000 level for quite some times now, right? If you take a look, we have tested like, one, two, three, four, five, 6, 7 times, but the the majority of the 85% of it is comprised of recent time frame. Kind of hovering on the sideways fashion of recent time frame, right? So I wouldn't call this like a substantive resistance zone at the moment because it's still relatively preliminary. We're just forming that recently, right? So people are still gauging this interest level, despite the consolidation zone we've formed in the last, I would say, 2 weeks so far. That I foresee that there will be a potential sell off coming down back to the 3,000, right? And then psychologically, investors like you and I, the public investors, will see that, oh, we come back down here, so we will sustain this continuation to get to the all-time high. Then they come in and FOMO, right? And they will have this scoop, right? And if you look at that historically, you see that historically, right? You see we sell off, right? We hit that all-time high to 4,383, and then we sell off, and then we sell off a little bit more, and then we are hitting this green candle here on the 14th of May, right? And then you see people coming back in, scooping up, and they thought that was like the bullish continuation. But little do we know that the whales are waiting for us to kind of trap us, right? And this is called the bull trap, right? So if you look at the chart, it looks kind of similar in a way, right? So this is like the large green candle that we couldn't get there, right? And then you see a sell off, and I think we'll completely match the sell off all the way back down to the low 3,150 at least, which is a substantive level. And I think by then, or even lower to 3,000, I will scoop up and form a green candle, right, comparable to the ones that we see here, and then you will see a sell off come basically crashing below 3,000 and hit the next level 2,750, and ideally 2,450, and then the continuation by consolidating on a sideways fashion, and then the next leap up to build a new ground. And I think the new ground should technically, as we go through this cycle again, will be somewhere around here, like 2,450. I think that could potentially be the bottom, or the worst case scenario, like 2,150. It needs to go through that revolution, it needs to go that normal cycle, and I think we are just at the beginning stage of it. But we're in the business of risk mitigation, right? And my job is to give you that perspective to know what to expect going forward, right? It seems like the logic's in play, right? The incentives for the whale makes sense. The public investor's gonna be following the trends, how the media affectation is gonna spin them. But it's important that we detect, the truth behind the news, and at the same time understand the normal course of cadence, so we can apply the logics accordingly to execute the price level that makes sense for you in a risk averse perspective, right? So hopefully this is helpful into how you capture the future surge and potential sell off from here. All right, just to recap some numbers in technical analysis. With respect to the current level, we are just normalizing. We are selling back down. We are basically at the mid to late stage of the euphoric zone. And I think the next step is something that we just talked about, right? We potentially will see a scoop where we come back down ideally to the $3,000 level, right? To the entry price that we see here. And then you might see a little bit of a euphoric pump as a last surge, if you may, just to, as a Hail Mary, if you may, right, for a lot of the FOMO investors, and hope that it will hit the all-time high because the momentum has been percolating. So people have this like denial type of affectation in their mind psychologically that they want to chase it. They think it's going to keep going. But as you know, as we pump up, it's going to incentivize the whales to basically, haha, we're going to pump you down. I mean, dump you down, basically. So definitely, understand the mindset, put yourself in the whale shoes. How would you want to manipulate the public investors? They want to take out money ultimately, right? And it's important that you don't get into the trap, right? The bull trap that we've been talking about, right? And ideally in a level that make more sense for me. I'm just talking about me personally, 2,750 and 2,450, right? But if you buy it now and despite the trap that you'll be in the near future, still understand that long term wise 9,800 3.3 times your money if you buy it at 3,000, and long term wise will be going way above, right, to $25,000. And I think that could happen in the next 3 to 5 years from now. All right, so that's it for the respect my technical analysis on Ethereum ticker ETH. Hopefully this is helpful into giving you that understanding, that clarity on what's should be happening next logically. I'm gonna be out today, so I'm actually gonna be spending the day with my family. So this is probably just gonna be my only video that I'm posting today. Depending on how late I come home later, right? If I come home at like 5 p.m., I'll probably do another one. But if I come home at like 7, I'm probably gonna just be super tired. I'm kind of tired already, so but I just woke up. I tend to wake up early. Just want to get my work done, ahead of the long day that I'll be having later today. Hopefully it's gonna be a nice sunny day, not raining. But I see the weather report is it says like 40 to 50% chance of like a little drizzle shower, which sucks. Like why out of the whole entire week it has to lay on a Saturday or Sunday, right? This is like the I think the first world problem that we all have, right? I guess. But really appreciate you, and feel free to give me a shout. I'm gonna be on my phone throughout the day, so just feel free to give me any questions. I'm happy to always address them accordingly and responsibly as well. And have a great rest of the weekend, and you'll probably see me again tomorrow. So take care. Bye.